Real-life house of horrors. Police in Ohio found 6 bodies inside the home of a registered sex offender. Authorities made several visits to the home of Anthony Sowell, but never looked around until after a woman claimed he raped her. CBS News correspondent Cynthia Bowers is in Chicago with the latest. Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning, Harry. Cleveland area families who believe their loved ones may be among the dead are hoping for answers today in a horrifying case in which new allegations against a convicted rapist turns up what appears to be an active serial killer who may have sought out his victims on a kinky social networking site.
Until we can identify the victims and gather more intelligence information relative to the victims, can we really determine what transpired.
What transpired here in a house of horrors? Thursday, SWAT team members came here to question paroled rapist Anthony Sowell about a new rape. Instead, they found badly decomposed bodies, 6 in all. 2 in the living room, 2 in crawl spaces in the hall, 1 buried under stairs in the basement, and 1 in a shallow grave out back. Of the victims, all 6 were female. 5 of them were strangled, but determining age and race will take time. Sowell was released from prison in June of 2005 after serving 15 years for choking and raping a 21-year-old woman. He created a profile for an online alternative lifestyle community only 1 month after his release. According to his profile, quoting now, "This master is looking for a sub to train if you're submissive and like to please." 18-year-old Melissa Topp knew nothing of Sowell's past and says she felt safe talking to the 50-year-old man on his front porch.
He was actually a nice person.
Yet when he invited her to come inside, her instincts kicked in.
It was just a feeling like, you shouldn't do this. No, it's not good.
The Cuyahoga County coroner says the bodies could have been there weeks, if not months or years, and the fear is a continued search may turn up even more, Harry.
Cynthia Bowers, thanks so much. Joining us in Washington is criminal profiler Pat Brown. Pat, good morning.
Good morning, Harry.
What do you make of this guy?
Well, I'm not surprised that he went on to serial homicide, being he's probably a serial rapist, although he's just in jail for one. But this is one misconception we have, that a person who is a rapist is not a serial killer. And when you have Mr. Parole Officer come out, he may have said that same thing. Oh, the guy's just a rapist, so there's no need to go into his house to find out if there's any bodies lying around.
How likely is it that, wouldn't there be some parole visitation or something? And oh, by the way, I don't know how to put this delicately, but once you have smelled decomposing flesh, it's not something you will ever not recognize again. How does this guy live amongst this and have not anyone in the neighborhood or a corrections officer or somebody identify it?
Well, you would think somebody would have paid a lot more attention. When you let a rapist out of jail, and this is a violent rapist who never should have been out of jail in the first place. Again, this guy should have gotten life in prison, because when he gets out, and we've seen it, he goes right onto this dating site and looks out to see if he can gather some more women in for his victims. So he's already out there doing his thing, immediately coming out of prison. So we cannot let these guys out, and the parole officers should recognize that. But I think they're poorly trained. They don't realize that a rapist is always a serial rapist if he gets an opportunity, and serial rapists can be serial killers as well. So you have to watch them extraordinarily carefully if you're ever going to let them on the outside. And apparently nobody bothered to actually, after knocking on the door, go in the house and see if anything was up in there.
And it's interesting also, I mean, he's hiding in plain sight. The guy goes on the internet, which is open to anybody, and is basically, he's setting a trap.
Absolutely. And you can see by his little advertisement there, he's not looking to do anything nice for women. He's asking women to come and be basically tortured by him. That's what he wants to be. He wants to dominate them. He wants to control them. And he's actually saying, here I am, a rapist. I want to do the same thing to you. Go figure why the parole board isn't looking at whether he's online fishing for some new victims.
Pat, thanks very much for coming on this morning.
Thanks, Harry.
All right.